Hi everyone, I'm Maddie.
And I'm Amber.
And we're
Witches Talking Tarot.
And today we're going to be discussing a creepy phenomenon. That you may or may not have experienced yourself.
May or may not have.
We're going to be talking about mimics.
Were you expecting it this time?
Yes, I was this time. Last time
I knew it was. Last time it was so much funnier because you were like, what the fuck is this bitch doing?
Mimics are spiritual, would you call them spiritual beings?
Both.
But
they're natural. They exist in the natural world. They exist in the supernatural world. And they exist in the people like to fuck with shit world.
I know, that's what I was going to say. So do we want to start out with the what is a mimic that is a person? Because, I mean, there are people mimics. I mean, they're going to say what you want to hear, basically.
Well, not just, they're going to mimic back to you what you've said to gain your trust. Oh my God, we didn't get here the last time we recorded.
It's very energy vampire-y, honestly.
It is.
Because they want to
gain your trust. Yeah, they want to get in your head by saying exactly what you say. And you come out of the situation feeling like you just maybe had a conversation.
Like a gaslighter.
But, well, you don't feel like a gaslighter.
No.
You feel like you came out of a situation where you just had a conversation, but really, this person just mimicked everything back to you to gain your trust, and you're feeling like, oh, we're on the same wavelength, we're on the same page. Right. Oh my God, spiritual fucking scammers do this shit all the time.
But I'm gonna be honest with
like,
you.
Oh, beloved. Sorry.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm over here like, do I do this when I fight with my husband? Look, I don't do it on purpose, but I'm like, no, this is what happened. And he's like, why are you repeating what just happened? I saw it. I'm like, oh my God, am I mimicking what just happened? I don't know that falls
into this, because that's more of a, you are trying to explain
what happened,
your perception of what happened, because in every situation that exists,
everybody has their own perspectives. Yeah,
you have a truth of it, like you have a perception of what happened. I have a perception of what happened, and then there's the space in between of what actually happened. But our perceptions make this a reality for us versus what somebody who's maybe an outsider sees, because they have their own perception of the situation. And, like, I don't think people understand this about, like, life.
So it's not like if you're repeating what happened and you're like, no, this is what happened and you're explaining, that's not mimicking. So what mimicking would be is more like, yeah, you know, like, I really like the color blue. It's my favorite color.
Blue's my favorite color, too.
Right. Or it's like, this is my belief. I really believe this, and it's just my core being, oh my God, we're like, we're like kindred spirits saying.
Right. Yeah, and see, I was hoping you might say something like, oh, I'm having so much trouble today because, like, my mom's just really on my case. And it's like, I sense that, like, you're having some troubles with your mom.
Right, fuck you.
Like, seriously, like, that is a way that scammers mimic, because mimics exist in the people world as well, which I was only thinking of from, like, the standpoint of, like, doppelgangers in a CIA government experience standpoint, because that shit really happened. The CIA really tried to make evil versions of all of us just to see if they could do it for war purposes. And then there's this terrifying YouTube video series called The Mandela Files or something like that. And it's kind of, I think the CIA experiment is like the backbone of the idea behind these videos, but they're terrifying because they're people mimicking other people, and or it's like a supernatural mimic of yourself that wants to kill you so that they can take over your existence.
Right, like that movie Us, that was directed by Jordan Peel?
Fuck that movie. I still haven't watched.
I call him Peely, and my husband's
because
like, "That's
P-E-L-E."
Yeah, he's like, "That's not what the fuck his name is. Please stop." And so if I say Jordan
why do you
Peele,
need the third E, man?
Like,
I'm just kidding.
deadass. If I say Jordan Peele, don't make fun of me. I know it's wrong, but I did like his movie, and it was exactly that. There was a government experiment. They pretty much created clones of us. They're underneath the ground. So they come up and they want to take over, basically. Like, please watch the movie. It's scary.
Like, I'm halfway through, and I wasn't sure if I was going to finish it. Because, like, it's fairly long and it's horrifying.
It is scary.
But then Maddie was telling me, like, what it's about. And I was like, oh, shit, I gotta finish it.
It has Elizabeth Banks in it. My husband is not a fan of Elizabeth Banks. He says she makes, like, weird faces. The blonde. She's from The Handmaid's Tale. And she, you know what, I'll show you a picture. She looks
like the main character lady that you see in commercials for The Handmaid's Tale?
So, and I
get that. But I don't remember seeing her in that movie. I don't remember this.
She's just a minor character. She's their friend.
Oh, okay.
And
she must come along later. Because, like,
she doesn't last long. Who knows? Watch it and see.
Yeah.
But anyway, so mimics can be actual people in your life. You can be victims to actual people in their life. Do you think these people know what they're doing, or do you think it could be a subconscious thing?
From the standpoint of actual people who are choosing to be mimics from a standpoint of manipulating your emotions, I think that it could be subconscious or it could be completely conscious, and it just depends on the individual and their life experience. Because some people, like, I mean, if you want to talk about it like that, like, we're not a psychology show or anything, but at the same time, like, science and magic is the same thing. So, like, human behavior and scientific versions of human behavior, the magical and spiritual versions of human behavior is kind of all the same thing to me. So, I will say that these people could have been raised in a manner that was a way of life, that was a way of survival. So if that's the way you survive, you don't know it's wrong.
It's not nefarious.
It's not nefarious, it's survival.
Well, and also, I know, let's use energy vampires as an example. I don't know if we've done an episode.
Yeah, we have.
We have? Okay, then check out our previous episode. I think it was
vampires.
season 1.
Yeah, we talked all about energy vampires.
I always wonder sometimes, do energy vampires, are they consciously doing this? I do think some of them consciously do it, but I do wonder if some emo vamps, specifically, don't realize that's what they're doing. Like, they're just like, it's like subconscious. Like,
yeah, I'm gonna go from the standpoint of someone who could be viewed as a succubus type, because, like, the thing I just did with my coffee, like, unintentionally, like,
unintentional, right?
Like, I feel like that was could have been perceived as overtly sexual, but it's just me being me. And if you're not watching the YouTube, then you don't know what I'm talking about.
Check us out on the YouTube. Sorry, you have a piece of hair in your face, so I was like, there it is. Okay. I was like,
yeah, the curls be getting wild, and that's okay.
Yeah, the weather's changing.
Yeah, and I give myself a spiffy law haircut, so they
so they're all refreshed and awesome.
Yeah. But, like, I think that, again, I think it depends on the specific individual, because I think a lot of people that are energy vampires, they know exactly what the fuck they're doing, or they at least have a modicum of knowledge as to what they're doing.
Right.
And then there's the ones that don't.
Well, and, like, and that's very similar, I guess, to mimics. Not really, but I could see how an energy vampire could use a mimic sort of vibe to...
No, keep talking. No, I love that. Okay, so, because, like, that's... Okay, so a thought that I was having was that some mimics in nature have they are mimics from the standpoint of protection, right? They are trying to portray themselves as something that is a predator versus a prey, so that they will not be preyed upon. And I think spiritually that some of the spiritual creatures that have the mimic behavior it might be coming from a defensive place like that. They want to be viewed as big and bad and scary. I can take you over so that they don't get mistreated by something that is actually big and bad and scary.
You know what?
And I think that plays into the people part as well, just like, you know, some people see it from survival. So sorry, I was just trying to bring it full circle.
I interrupted you, so I'm sorry. But like, you say that about spirits, and I feel like that may be the case with a lot of spirits in two different ways. One, I think one could be like, I'm big and bad, don't fuck with me. They're really not that big and bad. They just want to appear that way, either to be left alone or to intimidate you in some way.
Like that dude from Ghost. Check out our Patreon only episode.
Which one? Which one?
The one that teaches Patrick Swayze how to be a
ghost. Yeah,
like,
he's not really that big and bad.
He's not, but he wants everybody to stay the fuck off his subway car.
Which is people in general. There's a lot of people, high schoolers. You know,
sorry, I wasn't trying to cut you off.
Back to the teenage.
Yeah, just giving an example of like exactly what you're talking about in the spirit world. I think, in my
no, I totally agree. And then you have the opposite, which are mimics, but they're mimicking something meek and frightened
because they are the predator and they want to pretend to be the prey. Like, okay, for example, coyotes in the wild. They will sound like an injured baby animal to get you to leave the path and go out into the field so that the pack can overcome you and you are now their prey. But they got you to come over because they sounded like prey.
I say fuck them to coyotes because, damn, that's fucked up. I don't mean it, but at the same time, I've heard coyotes because I used to live in the country and they'd be like, yip, yip, yip. And I'm like, you bastards, I know what you're doing. I know what you're doing, and you're gonna lure a poor little animal. I mean, it's natural. It's the natural life. It is what it is. I'm just human, and I'm like, damn
like, I mean, for me,
it is what
survival.
It is what
survival. It is. Yeah, and like from the natural world, all of these mimic behaviors are completely based on survival, whether it's from a prey animal or a predator. Like, this survival piece plays in because you're misrepresenting yourself for a specific reason. And in the natural world, sometimes that specific reason is like a predator. Like, this one I found the most interesting out of all the mimic behaviors in the natural world was a predator that is very dangerous, very venomous, highly lethal to other animals, that masquerades as something that is less lethal, not to draw things in because it's still a lethal creature, but it's pretending to be something less lethal simply so that they don't get preyed upon as much, because the other animal looking that way is already like, predators are already like, don't fuck with that animal. So less of it's predated upon, which means more of them survive their youth and get to adulthood where they can be predators, right? And so by looking like something that's already a predator, even though it's a less violent predator or a less virulent predator, they're able to have more of their children survive by looking a certain way. And goddamn, if that doesn't sound like human nature.
No, it is. It's fucking awesome. It really is. Like, the things that I thought was really cool was the butterflies. When they open their wings, it looks like they're huge eyes, and they're very intimidating.
Like, one of them is called like an owl swallowtail or some crap like that, because when it's full out, like when the wings
looks like
are full
owl
out,
eyes.
It looks like owl eyes.
One of the things that I read, or I actually saw a little video on it on Facebook, and it was this type of caterpillar. And it makes a sound that sounds just like an ant queen. And so ants will carry it back to their little, like, colony, assuming it's their queen. And it'll just eat the fuck out of all the ants and get fatter and fatter and fatter and fatter. And they're none the wiser because it sounds like a queen.
That's great.
And then it turns into a cocoon and becomes a butterfly.
That's like... And that is a beautiful example of the survival that you can get as a mimic in nature.
Right, it's no different than a coyote. It's no different.
Yeah, no, not at all. And on the exact opposite end from the same kind of creature, there's a caterpillar this one was my favorite. It looks like the head of a green snake.
Oh, I've seen
so
that.
Birds won't come down and prey upon it because they think they would get eaten, but really it's just like the tastiest fucking treat they would have ever had. And then my second favorite of the caterpillar ones, one that looks like bird poop.
Oh my god, that's so funny.
Yeah, it just looks like poop. So
it's so crazy evolutionary. Like,
yeah,
like this is an evolution type thing
it
where,
is.
like it's just crazy to me. I know there are fish that will look bigger and badder. It looks like they have
like puffer fish they puff up simply to look bigger. I mean, fuck, bears.
Beta fish.
Beta fish, yeah. And I was just gonna say, like, people, the way we are told to, like, avoid being predated upon by bears is to make ourselves look bigger, because bears and big cats both, they don't want to fight for their food if they can avoid it. So if you make trouble for them, then they're probably going to
they may or may not go away.
Yeah, probably not. Like, definitely definitely.
I'm terrified of
Don't live among them.
Black bears.
You don't belong there.
Black bears, maybe. Grizzlies,
nope.
Lay down.
No.
Lay down.
No.
Die.
No. No. Like, you say black bear, no.
Well, I know.
We had the black bear right outside of our...
You want to look big for black bears, but when it's grizzly bears, you want to, like, lay down and like...
True, and this, like, okay, so, I don't know if you guys know this, but bears, black bears, grizzly bears, polar bears, they're all the same
bear! They're just different colors!
And different sizes, yeah, because, like, the bigger they get, they become grizzly. Like, when you live in that, like, because it's, like, they have the same DNA or something.
Right, they just have more food, and they have more room to run. But, like,
but it's, like, the same kind, it's, like, the exact same kind of animal, from my understanding.
I read that polar bears are, like, the most dangerous bear because, like, you're food to them. It's not a threat. Well, everything is food to them.
Okay.
But that's because they're starving.
Also, since you said that, I'm just going to throw out there for you people that don't understand this concept, we're all food to predators.
We're not at the top of the food chain, people.
We're not special because we're humans. Like, we think we are. And then we go put animals in bad situations by living in the grizzly maze or swimming in a fucking lake in Florida and then being surprised when a big predator predates on us, and then we're like, oh, but we're human, we're off limits, guys. No, we're not.
I
read
off limits. Kind of a side note, and then we'll get back on the mimics.
On the mimics. Yeah.
But I read that one of the orcas' like most like eaten food is a fucking moose. Like, orcas eat mooses, like they're the most like thing that they'll eat, and it's because moose swim underwater. Did you know that?
I had forgotten.
Yeah, they swim underwater, and they like they swim everywhere. So orcas in like Alaska and shit, their top like food would be moose, which is the weirdest shit. Isn't that the weirdest thing?
I love that a little bit. Kind of crazy. That's kind of loud. I don't know if y'all can hear my washer.
But it is crazy because you'd never think. You'd think it'd be something else.
No, yeah, like the look on my face, I was shocked.
Because I've totally forgot, like moose swim underwater.
I totally forgot. I did. There is information, like, I've read that before.
Right, but it's
totally forgot.
We don't live anywhere near moose or orcas, so, like, why would we remember?
I mean, yeah, like, that is information one should not forget because it's so cool. Damn. Anyway, that's
on the topic of mimics, it is fucking weird.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, that's insane. That is weird. Insane.
But, like, spiritually, you know, mimic spirits, whether, like, okay, so let's, like, okay, paranormally, that's probably the better word. Paranormally, there's, you know, cryptid mimics and there are spirit mimics, and both of them mimic things to... And it depends on the different lore, right? Because, like...
There's a lot in Appalachia.
Well, there is a lot in Appalachia, but also there's the fact that a lot of woodland protectors use the act of mimicry to lure hunters away from their prey. So to protect, like, the flora and fauna in the forests that they are protectors over, shout out to our forest protector episode. That was a lot of fun. And they, like, I do remember talking about,
right,
you know, they make noise to try and draw you away, but, like, they straight up, like, when I was doing the research for Mimic episode, like, multiple times I had different, like, I had the Leshy come up. I had one that had, like, a really long French name or Spanish name come up. And just, like, woodland protectors that would draw you off the path to protect their woodland.
I love that. Would you consider Pan then? That's not really a mimic thing because he comes up behind you and screams.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
That's not
mimicking. Yeah, no,
that's
these specifically like would mimic sounds to draw you away, like get you. Oh, there's a child out there. Right. Oh, there's a woman calling my name. That's my own voice.
Dude, I saw this video. Don't know how true it is because when you're watching videos on the internet, take it like a horror movie. They're scary, but they're probably not true. But these two kids, videos. I don't, but I love watching them like horror movies. So these two kids, and I call them kids, they're probably like your daughter's age, the oldest one, so like in their early 20s, maybe late teens, and they're sitting there outside, and in the woods they hear, hey, come and find me, come and find me. They're like, fuck no, I'm not going in the woods. I have a dog. I love puppies. We should all play. Come on, come and find me. He's like, no.
That's a bad idea.
No, first of all, if that's not a real video and somebody's standing in the woods saying, I would freak myself out standing in the woods saying shit like that. So maybe it's an edit, but like, it didn't sound like it. But anyway, I don't know if it's real or not. But the fact that it was like, come and find me. Bring your puppy. I like playing with puppies. Keep that puppy away from that bitch. I don't know what the fuck. You know what I mean? Like,
dude, I get it though, because like, you know, as an individual who has always heard disembodied voices, it is very disconcerting to be in a copse of trees with no other humans around and be talked to.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Like, I recently have been thinking a lot about, when I ran away from home when I was a teenager, and Amber was a bad kid. Listen to my advice, but don't be like I was back then. Anyway, when I was in the process of leaving, was picking up one of my friends, and I was in the woods outside of her house, and it was like people were talking to me all over, like, hey, I'm over here, and it sounded like her, and it sounded like our other friend that was going with us. And, like, I was so freaked out.
Right.
Like, at the time, I truly was like, is this all the psychedelics I've done coming back to bite me in the ass? Like, I don't know. Like, are they out here? Are they not? I don't know. And I didn't have a cell phone back then. Like, very few kids had a cell phone back then. Like, my husband had a beeper back then. Yeah, I think Jonathan might have had a beeper back then. But, like, I was so freaked out by hearing their voices behind me, and I couldn't see them. And I was so afraid to leave the trees that I was right by, because, like, that was something. Like, I don't know that it was a form of protection or not. Now, as an adult, I've been like, was this my ancestors who were like, you're a dumb bitch, stop, like, bad things are about to happen to you if you keep going? Was it the forest being like, you're a dumb kid, stop, like, bad things are about to happen if you keep going? My dumb ass kept going, it all happened. But, like, I do think it was a warning. Like, whether it was the protectors of the forest or whatever, like, they were mimicking my friends' voices, trying to get me to leave. Like, to draw me away from getting a hold of them so that we left together. Like, because if I had left without them, I was just going to go back home. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't going to do it on my own. Like, it wasn't even my idea. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it just wasn't going to happen. And it's like, I was thinking about that along with the whole, like, the forest protectors. Like, I don't know. Like, it's just like, hearing voices out in the goddamn forest is fucking scary anyway.
One of the things that I experience, and it's not every night, but it's often, and I didn't realize this was a natural, common occurrence, is before you're laying in bed and you're trying to go to sleep and you're hearing, hey, and Madeline, because that's my name, hey, 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 random words, Madeline, Maddie. That's natural. That's a natural common occurrence. I didn't realize that because when you are trying to fall asleep, there's some like part of your brain that's also trying to stay awake, and it's like so creepy. And actually, it makes me feel better because I'm like, am I schizophrenic? Because like straight up, there have been times when I'm like, where I'm just laying there and something goes, Madeline, Madeline, hey, hey, and I'm like, who are you people? Like that SpongeBob episode. Right?
Like, I wonder what that is. Like why our brains are like, don't go
I don't
to sleep.
know. Because I didn't think
like,
it was, it could be like a evolutionary thing. Where it's like, don't go to sleep too, like, deep or something. I don't know. I did not think, I can't remember what it's called, but it's a, it has a specific name to it, and I really thought, am I crazy? Am I hearing voices? Am I schizo? Like, sorry, I hope that's not an offensive term.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna have to read up on that because that's very interesting to me. I'm very interested in the science around sleep, mostly because my husband and I argue about circadian rhythm a lot. Sorry guys, I made it smoky on the YouTube. In the sunlight, they're not matching too well at the moment. But anyway, that's just a ray of sunshine. It's
crows mimic lots of
they
things.
do mimic lots of things, really. Oh, there we go. There we go. That's better. It was the sunlight, not me. I thought it was. I was like, damn, I have used my vape a lot.
So with
crows are mimics, though.
Crows, ravens, and
all the corvid corvus, right? They are mimics.
So do you think
magpies?
They could be the cause of some of these mimic lore? There's a random crow in the tree, hey, buddy.
Yeah, like you had read, they're on like every continent but Antarctica, right?
Every continent.
So like that would make sense why everybody's got lore about that. Like, and at the same time, I truly believe that there are spirits of the forest out there protecting. I'm just gonna have to get up and do this because I can't.
Oh, were you trying to pull it?
Yep, it was stuck on the thingy. This one is the opaque one. So, there we go. Hi, YouTube. What's up? Sorry, y'all. It was like the ray of sunshine was just blinding the view.
It totally
Although
was.
If you're watching on YouTube, you knew this, so I don't know why I'm explaining to you.
Well, and if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe and leave a comment. Is there any mimic lore, or have you
ever? That's what I was gonna ask. Yeah.
I know that I still don't know what happened to me. Like, I've shared it so many times when I called for my sister upstairs, something responded in her voice, yeah, I'm up here. Is it a timeline thing? Was it a mimic? Who knows? Or it was like, yeah, I'm here, come on up, and no one was fucking there. So it's like, was it a mimic? What the fuck was it?
Like, yeah, and if it was a mimic, like, why was it calling you?
Exactly. You know? And, you know, like, you see these videos where it's like, hey, it's your mom, and it's like outside the bedroom door. It's not your mom. Your mom's not gonna say it's your mom. Like, I mean, why would a mom knock on their kid's door and be like, hey, it's your mom?
Yeah, wait till your kids get older. You will do it.
You do it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because if you just knock and walk in.
Well, I mean, be like, hey, what's up? Or, hey, can I come in? But why specifically, hey, it's your mom? Unless you don't want to see something, and that's, like, what it is.
Yeah, because, like, he's always going to tell them, like, you know what I mean? Because, like, if they're in a state of undress,
right,
it's going to be awkward for everybody,
right.
You know? I'm more like we have girls, so for me, it's easier to walk in. But I'm still going to say, it's me, your mom, because some of them are modest and some are not. And, like, every kid's different. Like, two of my daughters wouldn't care. No matter what what was going on, they wouldn't care. Two of them would absolutely care. Like, two of them wouldn't care if he walked in. He cares, but they don't. You know what I'm saying? So, like, that is a pretty, like, when your kids
standard
are older,
thing.
yeah,
like, hey, it's your mom.
Yeah.
It's your mom. Come in. And then he's like, what's your name? Nothing.
Yeah, that's creepy because they don't know.
They don't know the name.
They don't know the name.
No.
They're mimicking.
Exactly.
And it's like, one thing that I didn't know counted as like, was technically considered mimics is like hearing sounds of like the sounds that your husband makes when they come home. But then you go out and there's nobody there, and that is included in mimic lore. That one freaks me out.
That is creepy.
That happens to me.
Well, my husband and I were in the living room and we thought we heard our baby crying. We went in there and there was no crying. And it's like, if it was a phantom cry, why did we both hear it? Why can we both hear phantom cries at the same time?
I mean, if you're on that much of a similar wavelength, I mean, if you can have the same song pop in your head at the same time, why couldn't you both have a phantom cry about your child at the same time? Especially if, like, were you talking about being parents or having children, or the fact that you're excited to be alone? Because, like, whenever I thought about being like, oh, it's so nice to not have the kids, that's when I would have, like, a phantom cry moment.
I feel like I've had phantom cries before, but nothing like I had recently. And I was on the toilet, of course, and my kids were in the living room and the door was shut, and I literally hear, Mom! Oh my God! Mom! I was like, my kid is fucking, something's wrong. So I'm like going as fast as I can, right? Hold on, I'm coming. Motherfucker's sitting on the couch watching TV. I go in there, terrified. Are you okay? And he's just watching Little Einstein.
Yeah.
Like, just chilling. Like, I have never heard a phantom cry so real as that one time. And he was literally screaming, crying, Mom! Mom! Yeah. Like, I thought he was hurt. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Those go away, though, when they get older, right? Right? Or do you still hear them?
I still hear them.
As babies or as when they're adults? Like, do you hear their adult voice or do you hear babies?
Both.
Both? Oh my gosh. That's
I don't
terrifying.
know. I don't know how it is for other people, but, like, y'all tell us, are you parents of elder children? Do you still hear phantom cries? Do you hear your kids be like, hey, Mom? And then you ask them which one said, hey, Mom, and they all deny calling for you.
That's so creepy.
It is. It happens. It happens to me. It does. Like, and, you know, like, as far as, like, the mimic sounds, like, I always attributed that kind of stuff to, like, the shadow guy, you know? Like, I never thought of, like, the sounds themselves that were not vocalizations as mimic behavior. But I'm curious, like, what do you guys think? And I'm curious, Maddie, what do you think? Like, do you think of, when you think of mimic behavior, do you think of just, like, the sounds?
I didn't necessarily think of the sounds, no. But now I'm like, that's unusual. Like, I never would have thought of that, honestly.
I wouldn't either, but it's like, just listening to my kid do what she's doing, disembodied because I can't see her, and it's like, that is actually something I think we probably all experience. Right? Is like those noises of somebody's doing something in another room, and then you go check, and there's nobody there.
That's so creepy.
Yeah, it is creepy. It's almost... Is it creepier than the voice, do you think? Or is the voice creepier? Oh, that's not even the kid I thought it was.
I don't know, honestly. I almost wonder if it's creepier because when you hear the voice, you're like, okay, that's weird. What the fuck? But, like, for me, if I'm in my bedroom and I hear what sounds like my husband shuffling in the kitchen, which is right outside my bedroom, I'm like, oh, Bryson's home. And then I get up and nobody's fucking home. That's scary.
Yeah, no, I hate that shit. Like, that happens when I'm in the shower more than anything else.
Really? Yeah.
Yes! Which is also, like, in the shower, you're fairly vulnerable.
You are, absolutely.
Like, I hate it when it happens when I'm in the shower. Like, that's when it happens to me the most. But you guys, if you have experienced any kind of, like, mimic behavior, I'm curious, like, what do you experience? If you experience mimic behavior, let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe while you're doing that, whether you're watching us on YouTube or listening on your favorite podcast platform. And if we missed any, like, glaringly obvious mimic stuff that maybe we should have covered, just know, if you don't follow us on the socials, which we can be found on Instagram, Threads and Facebook at Witches Talking Tarot.
We're also on the X at Classiest Witches.
Because we're the classiest witches you know. But if you don't follow us on those socials, then you don't know that maybe last week we recorded these episodes and maybe they got fucked up. And so maybe for the first time ever, we're re-recording and trying to recreate the magic.
It's
which
hard.
We are not good at. Like,
We're
we've tried. Like, we don't do scripted well because we can't. The magic comes in that first take. You know what I'm saying?
It really does.
It does. We discovered it long ago in our very first videos, which if you are on YouTube, you can go to our other playlists and find our first little pre-podcast videos where we were gearing up to be Witches Talking Tarot. So, did you have anything else?
Nope, I think I'm good. All right, thank you for sitting with us for a spell. Bye.
Bye.